This car has no God-given right to be this much fun. Now, for those of you that don't already know the channel, this is Chop's Garage. That's my business, CG Car Sales. I'm a small car dealer. I gave up corporate and set up my own car dealership. Some people watching the channel have been with me since the very beginning, flipping small little cheap cars. Now I'm progressed, and I'm starting to do stuff around 2018, 2017, newer stuff, more valuable stuff. We've done some vehicles worth £20,000, but when we started the channel, we're all about sort of sub £3 stuff, and that's because it doesn't matter how much money I've got. I love cheap little runabouts. And one of the greatest things about having this job now is I get interesting part exchanges in. And this is one of the ones I've just recently taken in. It's a Suzuki Ignis Sport. Now, you can be forgiven for probably not even knowing when this vehicle exists or anything about it at all. And you'd also be forgiven for thinking it's just a car that somebody got carried away with at Halfords and threw everything at it, with the wide body kit and the white wheels and the spoilers. But this is actually a very special little car. There's quite a good story behind this. It's special because Suzuki decided they wanted to be a part of the Junior World Rally Championships, and this is the car they decided to enter with. They took their standard Suzuki Ignis and they did quite a few bits and bobs to it to make it quite a special little car. Now, the Ignis was already a light car, but what they decided to do was take a lot of the sound deadening out of it and put on these lightweight alloy wheels. Now, all the cars feature white wheels because these aren't a fashion statement. These are genuine lightweight alloy wheels to reduce the overall weight of the vehicle. These weigh in at just 960 kilograms. With modern cars, your average hot hatch weighing in now around 1500 kilograms plus. This is a super lightweight little car. Now, most Ignis had the 1.3 engine in, but what they did with this was they horseshoed the 1500cc twin cam 16 valve unit in it. Now, this unit puts out not massive horsepower, 109 brake horsepower. Well, looking online, you get anywhere between 107 and 109 brake horsepower quoted. That power kicks in at a heady 6,400 RPM. So this is a revvy little devil. All its power right at the top end of the rev range. Now, not only did they take out weight with the sound deadening and with the lighter alloy wheels, they actually widened the track of the vehicle. So this has got wider, the wheels are further apart on these than they are on a standard Ignis, and they also lowered the suspension. But it didn't stop at those modifications. They also lightened the flywheel so that it was freer to rev, and fitted vented brake discs. So you can see that Suzuki was serious about making this little car do as well as it could for that rally series. And they did in fact go on to win it, I believe. So all these modifications actually do serve a purpose. And the end result is a hugely entertaining little hot hatch that isn't really appreciated in the market at the moment. These are crazy cheap. I've seen these cars for well under £1,000 needing repair work. Even the most immaculate examples don't seem to exceed £4,000. Now, if we compare that to one of my favourite little hot hatches that I've had, the famous 106 Rally, that is absolute peanuts. So 106 Rally will now set you back £10,000 for even a slightly rough example. Fully restored examples hitting £20,000 now. And there's a lot about this car that is very similar to the Rally. You've got a stripped out sound deadening, you've got the lightening of the rest of the components like the wheels and so forth, you've got that hugely high revving little engine. There's an awful lot similar in the two vehicles. I do expect to get a lot of hate for that comment, but as someone who has owned both, I think I am qualified to say that. It's wonderfully hot hatch inside as well. We have the fishnet Recaro seats. When was the last time you saw fishnet Recaros? These in this example are actually in really good condition. It's just got a little bit of wear on there. But you've got the fishnet Recaros, you've got the thick little steering wheel there, you've got this little white gear knob, and the shift is really quite nice and direct. There's not too many toys in here, which, you know, you wouldn't expect too many. You've got electric windows, you've got air conditioning, so more toys obviously than a 106 Rally, for example. It's quite light and airy in here. It reminds me of a Alfa Romeo 145 in its sort of boxiness. Got very plain little seats there, but again, the fishnet headrests. You can feel the whole thing is very light and tinny, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? Lightness. So quick look in the engine bay. Like I said, you've got this little 1.5 double overhead cam 16 valve unit, putting out about 107 brake horsepower, some places say 109. That gave it a 0 to 60 of 8.9 seconds and 115 mile an hour top speed. Now, the 0 to 60 obviously doesn't sound that great, but another Suzuki I have, the Suzuki Swift Sport, also has similar figures. The Suzuki Swift Sport is about 10 horsepower more, but it's a little bit heavier, so they kind of balance each other out. And certainly having driven this, and we will drive it in a bit, it's not about those baseline figures. This is a lot more than just a couple of figures on a sheet. Once you get this thing up and running and revving, those numbers go out the window. It genuinely feels fast. As I said, peak power is at 6,400 revs, so you do need to rev it, and it's only got, I think, 113 foot-pound of torque, about 4,000 revs, so you aren't going to get anywhere off the torque. You're going to have to work it hard. So now it's time to take a little look at the actual example I've bought. Now, this was offered to me in part exchange against a car I had in another unknown car, really, a Daihatsu YRV Turbo. And as a dealer, I probably overpaid slightly on it because I've always wanted to try one of these. I gave £700 in part exchange for this vehicle. Looking round condition wise, it's faded. We've got a faded wing mirror cap here. A lot of this I think will buff up. The actual bodywork itself is pretty good. It's fairly free of dings and dents. Like I said, there's a lot that I think a mop and polish will do. This front bumper's again pinked a little bit. The plastics will fade at a different rate to the metal, so again I think a buff there, a buff of the headlight here. I think we can have her looking a lot smarter. There is some colour differentials, but again, you know, for the age of the vehicle and for the kind of money we're talking about, we're not going to go crazy trying to fix those things. Again, this could do with a buff. I don't think there's an awfully large resale market for it, and like I say, with current prices, I would probably put this one in the region of maybe £2,500 as a retail sale. Now obviously on a retail sale I have to pay VAT on the sale, I have to put the warranty on it, I'll have to have a new MOT. This one will have to have tyres because the tyres are in pretty poor condition. We've got Toyos on it, which, you know, great sticky tyres, but we can see that we've got a lot of perishing here. Now this may well pass MOT because it's on the edge of the tyre, but I wouldn't want to send out the car like that. There's loads of tread on the tyres, so I can only presume these have been allowed to sit flat, or you know, I don't know really why, unless they've got very hot on the edge there. Loads of tread, but yeah, I think they would need to be replaced for a retail sale anyway, so there's costs involved in that. So once again, you know, me saying that I've got it for 700 and it'll be going up for like 2.5, I've obviously got quite a lot of costs to go into it to prep it to that level. It may well end up just being traded out to someone on a spares and repair basis. It's a shame really, because these are pretty much new, but they've all got cracking on the side of them. The wheels, I think they'll clean up with a bit of a polish. Let's say the whole thing just needs a polisher run over it. Mileage wise, I can't recall. I think it's about 105 or so. Let me, I've got the keys on me still. We'll look at our glorious white dials. 113,000 miles. So for a car of this age, what are we looking at? It's about 17 years old, so that's actually quite low mileage for the age. Inside, the materials all seem good. The plastic seemed pretty good. Everything here looks like it'll clean up okay. There's a little bit of wear on the side of the seat there, but nothing, a bit of stitching can't tidy up. And again, you know, when you've got side bolsters this sticking out this far, that's going to happen, isn't it? But actually, yeah, again, I think inside here it can clean up quite well. It'll tidy right up. Engine starts on the button. There's no nasty smokes from cold. Seems to rev cleanly. Settles down to a nice idle. The You can hear how free revving it is with that light and flywheel. But obviously this is all about driving. So let's get in it, let's go for a hoon and see if it lives up to all the hype. Once you get it up and going, it doesn't get up to speed that quickly, but once it's there, you can really build some progress. And it will just rev its little hearts out. So through the corners, you almost feel like you've got like double the space because it's so little. You've got a load of road space for the corners, and you can just keep the progress going so easily. You rarely have to slow down for anything. You can really make progress along these country lanes very quickly. And when you glance down at speedo every now and then, you're surprised by how quickly you are actually going. Now don't get me wrong, on bigger, wider roads, against anything else performance-wise, you're probably going to get annihilated. But on these back lanes, on this twisty stuff, you'll surprise a hell of a lot of stuff in this. And this is just when a car slows down in front, it's just an opportunity to start dropping down those cogs and really get it revving again. There is definitely an on-cam at about 4,000 plus. Car comes alive at that point. You really do want to wring its neck, but you can feel it's almost VTEC like. It just picks up that much more power over about 4,000 revs. Raughty little noise. Right, start getting some corners in then. And immediately you get throttle response because the revs are that much higher. I've got a load of stuff in the back flying around now. But you get immediate throttle response. The revs want to rise really quickly. And it puts a grin on your face straight away. The Suzuki Swift likes to rev, but it doesn't feel as eager as this does to rev. Now the reality is you're probably making a lot of noise and not going anywhere particularly fast, but we're up to national speed limit already there, and you can do that because you can just hold the revs right the way through without changing. Now, having owned a 106 Rally, I can say that you're getting pretty much all of the experience of a 106 Rally for like a tiny fraction of the cost. Yes, you haven't got the uber coolness of a 106 Rally, but I could certainly see things like this getting as collectible later on in life. As you can no doubt tell, I thoroughly enjoyed that drive. Really crazy fun for the money. I do struggle to think of anything else that you can have that much of a grin for this kind of money. And I will say it again, I think it is basically a budget 106 Rally. There's so many similar things about it. Yes, it's not as cool as a 106 Rally, I guess. I'm not sure what the numbers are on how many of these are on the road, but it's got to be getting low because you see some that rot out and they will be getting thrown away at probably an alarming rate, I would have thought. So the numbers have got to be dwindling, which has got to mean a future increase in value. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts on the Ignis. Do you think I'm right, or have you got other little hatches that can be got for under £1,000 that you think better this? If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up down below, because that tells the algorithm on YouTube to recommend this to other people. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, hit that subscribe button. We will be going on to give this car a full machine polish and a full clean up, and we'll see exactly how tidy looking we can get it. We'll also take the opportunity to have a whiz underneath and have a look there, because one thing we do know Suzuki's like to do is they do like to rot. So are we going to find trouble? As always, thanks for watching. Catch you again soon.